name is Chad, and I am a bird. But what's in a name, humans? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell so sweet, says Shakespeare, so I figure he doesn't give a goddamn, and not a damn thing is in a name. Way to waste that tuition money, English majors. Kick rocks. But humans, what is in a name? Is it power? Is it truth? Is it nougat? What is nougat? And why is it called that? What's in its name? The answer is nuts. Literally. Nougat is a French word which they borrowed from the Occitan word nougat, and it means what it is. Nutty stuff, or things with nuts. Because you'd make, I'm sorry it wasn't as awesome as you were hoping it would mean. It just means nuts. Also, it's Occitan, sorry, if we're doing words. But the thing is, it's made out of nuts. That's what nougat is, because you make a sauce out of nuts, and you shouldn't call it nut sauce, because that's dirty. Like at Thanksgiving, you want some nut sauce on that? Does that come with nut sauce? Filthy. But the nougat you know about is that sweet goo in the middle of candy bars. Or if you're fancy and go to tea at the Four Seasons and have a friend from Germany that got you hooked on Moritz ice cubes, nougat is a tacky, whippy, egg white candy like a meringue fruitcake with nuts. So often you humans will just throw the whole ass meaning out the window and name it whatever the fuck you want just because it's close to whatever the fuck it is. Sometimes names are named after the thing they already are, called eponyms or oponyms or eponyms. Like 10 Downing Street is also called 10 Downing Street because that's where it am. Disney World after Walt Disney. Elizabethan after Queen Elizabeth. Well, I do believe, and a historian can correct me should they be available, that we're currently living in the Pedro Pascal Renaissance, as this e-cop will be known eponymously, you dig? Sometimes a name is just a name, like Vanessa. Sometimes it's because you want to make it easy for people, so you go with Cher instead of Cheryl and Sarkisian. Sometimes it's because a kid named Gordon used to wear yellow and black jumpers, played with a band called Phoenix Jasmine, and they figured he looked more like a bee than a Gordon, so they just took to calling him Sting. So remember that. If Sting has ever given you shit for not being able to hit those high notes or how he can fuck for a week, why can't you? He's being a real Gordon. So what's in a name, humans? Is it history, is it identity, or is it something more important that has been a glimmer of society, the shine on the mirror, the light of eons of humanity? Branding! Branding! That's in a name, and it's hot, hot, hot! Fire! That's what branding's names comes from. It comes from the ancient Norse word brander, which means to burn, which is a burning torch. But in the 1500s, you humans were really into burning your mark into whatever shit you could claim. And you called that branding, which even means the same thing. Branding has lost its original meaning or went through a long-ass rebrand. Cattle branding is probably what you're thinking of right now, because when aren't you wanting a burger? And those symbols were all unique to ranchers that were burning the pre-beef, making them kind of the first company logo. But then later, as the Industrial Revolution invented mass production and the Mondays, there were too many businesses and products for you humans to choose from. Must be fucking nice! All us birds got were breads or worms, which honestly is a win-win if you got the beak for it, especially because a mozzarella stick wouldn't really come around until the 70s, so just know the birds are patient. Companies now to be bigger, louder, bolder to stand out and take ownership. And then comes the trademark. And then because that, registered trademarks get popular in the 1870s. U.S. Congress passed the first Trademark Act, 1881. Now branding is intellectual property. Companies can officially claim their products as their own. Branding gets its own suits and stripes. No bullshit. Now here we are. Everyone's got a brand. That's how you stand out. That is what's in a name. And you choose names based on their vibe, the feel, the image you want to reveal. Bezos wanted to give off the vibe of exotic and different, big and expansive, and something that started with the letter A because it's first in the search, so Amazon was branded. Sergey Brin and Larry Page wanted a name that suggested vast amounts of info and figured a Googleplex was right on because that's one followed by a Google number of zeros, which is one with 100 zeros chasing its ass, and that's a fuck ton of math. We're not doing math right now because it's not as hot as names, even though, I don't know, sextillion sounds like a page I'd visit when I'm curious. They misspelled Google, which does not have an E on the end, found out that .com was available, and if you want to know what that ended up becoming, you can Google it yourself. You don't Watch the entertainment and sports programming network when your family comes to visit with volume so loud it's going to crack the siding. That's ESPN. When you sneeze, you don't ask for a tissue, you want a Kleenex because you know that's a brand that's clean. Hence the first part of the name, the X part, is because Kimberly Clark, who created the brand, also made Codex tampons and needed that extra connection on the end. Familiarity, that's in the name. All because you humans love owning shit and want to make sure everyone knows it. Think about that when you got a logo on a t-shirt. That's why everything I got says Malort, because I know who my daddy is and I want everyone to know I can take it. So America, I gotta ask, what the fuck is Pete Hegseth doing? Like, what the fuck? Peter Brian Hegseth is the United States Secretary of Defense. Sorry, war, because they rebranded it to something that kind of makes more sense, but it still feels a little showy, you know? Pete has been in the news lately because he recently posted up on X, which is Twitter to everyone else except for Elon Musk, that the U.S. military has carried out 3 military operations with names he himself chose to, quote, project a message, and that message is lethality, which tracks. It's the Department of War. You should be as advertised. But when he listed the names of the operation, the message was a little messy. The airstrikes in Yemen were called Operation Rough Rider. The obliteration of the Iranian nuclear sites were called Operation Midnight Hammer. And the anti-narco-terrorist operation on those sites were called Operation Southern Sphere. Now, I may be a bird and not truly familiar with the logic of all sex laws, to quote the great philosopher Beck David Hansen, known as Beck, because that's his first name. Sidebar, Neil Diamond's real name is Neil Diamond. That's how good he is. And I am no political analyst because birds cannot vote, but like, I think Operation Rough Rider, Operation Midnight Hammer, and Operation Southern Spear sound a little less lethality and a little more kinky. Like, Operation Rough Rider sounds like a VHS tape you find in the woods. And maybe it awakens something in you. Maybe it confirms it. It's not for us birds to say. We have cloacas. Our plumbing takes a whole other degree to understand. We go number 3 because it's more efficient. Operation Midnight Hammer sounds like if they made another Magic Mike movie, except this one's a heist. Which brings me to Operation Southern Spear. I mean, I get it because they're literally looking southerly, but given that the rebranding of the military also renamed 2 military forts after Confederates, Bragg and Banning, Operation Southern Spear sounds more like a Gone with the Wind fetish, but he can't be Scarlet, though, because he told military leaders at that press conference back in September, "No dudes in a dress." That's a direct quote. Pete Hegseth also mentioned that hiring gay troops reflected, quote, a Marxist agenda, and also ordered the USNS Harvey Milk to be renamed because Lieutenant Milk was a gay rights activist who was famously forced to accept an other than honorable discharge and leave the service rather than be court-martialed because he was gay. And like, us birds really don't have a say in human affairs. It's not for us to say. But like, I gotta say, Midnight Hammer, Southern Spear, and Rough Rider kind of sound maybe like they're bars where you go when you're looking for a very specific kind of lethal force. I'm just saying, the branding is coming off a little off-brand for what Pete Hegseth is selling, and that ain't cheap. As of September, he spent over $1 billion in rebranding costs. Just changing the name to the Department of War involves overhauling the code on both the internal and external communication systems and replacing the letterhead, badges, placards, and signs at offices and bases all around the world, quote, which would amount to an estimated $2 billion. So what is in a name? A fuck ton of money. Not to mention Operation Rough Rider, Operation Midnight Hammer, and Operation Downright Fierce. Just kidding, that's a real porn. But would you have noticed are actual operations that have killed people and strikes, some of which were not approved by Congress, and one of them might actually be a war crime. So it's not just the money that he is burning with his branding, but it's all about the front-facing names, because that is how you brand, humans. You don't always nail it. Peanuts are not nuts. Grape nuts are neither, so that's 0 out of 2 on that one. Iceland is greener than Greenland, which is mostly ice. Chinese checkers are not checkers, and they're from Germany. You don't get money from life assurance for living longer. You park in driveways, you drive in parkways. Fireflies are beetles, and urinal cakes are not as advertised. I know, I checked. So humans, if that which we call a rose by any other name with smell is sweet, what's in a name? Is it power? Is it truth? Or is it nothing? Because you can change it to mean whatever you fucking want. Make it mean whatever you like. Whatever it does for you. Kind of like my point. Because what do I know? I'm just a bird, and my name is Chad. I love you. Good night.
Nailed it.